Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. I'm your host, Jerron Harrington, back to hit you with another video, and today, every Tuesday afternoon as always, we are here with another Chainsaw Man anime episode review. This week's episode 9, titled From Kyoto. First and foremost, as always, if you are new to the channel or if you're a regular and you like what we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that's to come out now and in the future. So, getting into today's episode, we follow the immediate aftermath of episode 8. First and foremost, I want to say RIP to the boy Ari, even though in the grand scheme of things, he really wasn't that important. He really didn't matter. I didn't really much care for him. I really found him annoying. Still, though, we are keeping with the RIP trend. And let me tell you, before the end of part 1 of this series being animated, we're going to have a lot of RIPs. I'm just going to be quite for real with you. And I could give everyone the RIP treatment, but let's just be honest, a lot of them are just background characters that you're not really going to care about. And if you do, well, oh well, they're just going to be gone. But anyway, we pick up right where we left off with the last episode, with Special Division 4 being under attack from enemy forces. But we soon learn that it's not just the 4th Division that's under attack, it's actually all Divisions 1 through 4. They're all being hit simultaneously at the same time, while Makima is on her way to Kyoto for a meeting with the officials of the Devil Hunting Headquarters. So in the midst of doing this, after Himeno's sacrifice, she uses the last of her powers with the Ghost Devil to pull on the ripcord in Denji's chest to revitalize him and to activate his Chainsaw Man abilities. So after this, we get the first round between Denji and Katana Devil. Chainsaw Man versus Katana Man, if you want to call it that. And in terms of animation, this fight scene, even though it was short and even though it was brief, definitely blows a lot of what we've seen this year out of the water. Again, it's going to be a late entry, but Chainsaw Man is definitely going to be competing for Anime of the Year. And I mean that wholeheartedly with the action scenes alone. Because this episode was just action from start to finish, and we're just getting started. And we're only on episode 9 going into what we're going into. So anyway, Denji fights against the Katana Devil. The two of them are going back and forth, blade the chainsaw, and Denji's actually able to hold his own for a bit. But the one thing I do appreciate about Chainsaw Man as a series is the fact that despite all the powers that you see in this show, in the end of the day, a lot of these characters are still human. And I like to appreciate the fact that even though you have like the power system that you do in Chainsaw Man, a character can still be taken down with something like a gun. And I also appreciate, like I said in last week's video, how they make it realistic about the bad guys having guns. And why it would make sense is because if you know about gun laws in Japan, they are a lot more stricter compared to the gun laws of the West, and especially in America, to say the least. So it would make sense that your average civilian wouldn't be able to get their hands on a gun. Like I've said before, you have a better chance of getting your hands on a katana before you get your hands on a gun in Japan. So that shows you just how hard it is to get it and why criminals like the Yakuza and so on and so forth would predominantly have them. We also see that Makima is still alive. We got to see a demonstration of her ability, and I want to explain it, but there's a lot that goes into it that I can't explain in a simple review video. So let me know down in the comment section if you want me to do a explanation video for Makima's abilities, or for any type of ability in any type of anime or show in general. I don't mind the idea of making those kind of videos, but again, there are other people who make those kind of videos that I would say would be a lot better at than I ever was. For example, people like Suikage, or if you see Naruto Explained, also goes by the name of Kryptonian Saiyan. He actually does a review for the manga of Chainsaw Man and goes into the lore of it and explains the powers. So if you want to get a better explanation, definitely go check out his channel. Definitely recommend it if you're a fan of Chainsaw Man. I'm just reviewing the anime, but I can do other stuff if you want me to. But anyway, we see everyone is basically getting hit hard. But We do have some people rising to the challenge. Now, Denji, he does try to take one of the bad guys hostage that's trying to shoot him, although it doesn't end up going in his favor because Katana Devil ends up cutting them both, and Denji basically ends up losing his legs and is bleeding out, which is one of the side effects of when he's in his devil form. He needs blood, and with a lot of blood loss, it's hard for him to heal. So after this, the bad guys are essentially packing up Denji. You can tell that they're after his heart, and this plays more into the story going on forward, but there is a very big importance to Denji's power that you'll see in the continuation of this story. But in the meantime, Makima, she's looking to do whatever she can, and we see the demonstration of her ability using some criminals who are on lifetime sentences or even worse, and using them as a part of her power. And her power is supposed to be kept secretive, so secretive that those without authorization are not allowed to see her use or execute her power. That's why her two assistants in Kyoto are blindfolded. But we do see how frightening and terrifying her powers can be, considering the fact that she ended up turning multiple people into literal pancakes, nothing left but pools of grounded up bones and splattered blood. So there was definitely a lot of bloodshed in this episode, not even gonna lie to you on that regard. But if there is one thing that I must hype up, if there is one thing that stands above everything else that we saw in this episode, even though it only lasted for 1 minute and 30 seconds, we got a chance to see none other than one of the young goats go to work. We got to see one of the young queens put in that work. I'm talking about my girl, Kobeni. Spam Kobeni in the chat. That's right, we are trying to get hype up for Kobeni, because even though she is scared, even though she is timid, even though her crying can be annoying as hell, when she gets serious, she gets serious. And I say that because in this episode, when the villains, when Katana Devil and his associates are about to try to pack up Denji and drive off with them, and we think that everyone else has just been wiped off the map, and we think that no one's coming to save him, we see Kobeni arrive. She's got the knife in one hand. She's got the gun in the other hand. We see one of Katana Devil's minions using her ability with the Snake Devil to create multiple snakes to try to take Kobeni down. But Kobeni dodges every single attack. She ends up going in. She cuts off Katana Devil's arm. She ends up shooting at multiple points of the bad guys. She pulls Denji out of the way and just continues to go to work. And we also get the flashback of what happened in last week's episode when her and Ari were getting attacked. Ari basically pushes her out of the way, takes a bullet to the throat, then takes a bullet to the head. But then Kobeni, she came in without hesitation, wrapped her arm around the other guy, pulled his gun, pushed it up under his head, and then blew his brains out. And we got to see Kobeni put in that work. Again, it's only for 1 minute and 30 seconds. Not a whole lot to get hype about. But for me, it's enough to get hype about. And it's just, it plays into something that I can relate to. Because Kobeni, she's just like me. She's like you. But she's like me for real. Because I used to work at a job that I hated. A job I couldn't stand. A lot of you don't know, but for the few people who do, I used to work at McDonald's. I worked at McDonald's for 3.5 years. The first year, it was kind of fun. It was my first job. How I made my money, it was all right, cool. But then as I continued working there, I slowly grew to hate it. I loathed it. I used to show up late all the time because, truth be told, I did not care about that job at all. I mean, I got to the point where I just started thinking of creative ways that I could just have fun while I was there. Because truth be told, I didn't like most of the people that I work with. I didn't like my bosses. I just didn't like my job in general. I hated working long hours for no pay, no benefits, nothing at all. So when I say I relate to Kobeni, I relate to Kobeni. She's just like me. She's like me for real, because I be working at a job I don't really care for it now anyway. And she's about to put in her 2 weeks notice, so Kobeni's about to be gone. And unfortunately, she's about to go work at a certain burger establishment. So prayers for Kobeni, because I don't know what's worse, working with the Special 4th Division or working at McDonald's. Honestly, if I had to pick, I'd rather take my chances with the Katana Devil. But, you know, that's just me. But anyway, Kobeni, she comes in, saves the day, but she has a breakdown. You understand why. She just feels terrible. But it's not just Kobeni. We see a lot of other members, those who managed to survive the onslaught of the teams 1 through 4 getting attacked. Everyone's just putting in their 2 week notice right now. We even see Madoka, Makima's assistant. He comes back at the end of the episode and he gives Makima the message that due to the attack and with the remaining survivors of the special divisions 1 through 4, all of them are going to be combined into one division that will be known as Special Division 4, and it will all be under Makima's control. We see Makima smile at the end, and I mean, oh my god, I can't stand that smile. I mean, if you know, you know. Again, if you read ahead, if you know what's happening in the story, you already know, but still though, tell me you're a manipulator without telling me you're a manipulator. And that's honestly all I got to say about that. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Makima, yeah, she's hot. She's hot. She a baddie. You know, she's got the red hair, long red hair. She's got the hourglass figure. She's got the pretty face with a big bang. You know, she's got it. But I mean, I don't really care for her personally. You know, for me, when it comes to best girls, you already know who's the best girl. That's Power. I'm down with Power all day, every day. We didn't get no Power in this episode, but you know, it's cool. It's cool. You know, the Prime Minister of Japan cannot be bothered to come all the time. But when she does, I look forward to it. I don't care if they're pads. I don't care if it's real. I don't care if it's fake. I don't care if she raises taxes to 100%. I'll pay for it. I know I got issues. But anyway, in all seriousness though, this was definitely a really good episode. If you're a fan of action, Mappa definitely came through with the action scenes in this episode. And again, if you've already been familiar with their other works, especially with Jujutsu Kaisen, when it comes to choreographing fights, that is one thing I think Mappa does extremely well. Their choreography, I think, is among some of the best work. I think it's up there definitely with Demon Slayer. And between what we had with Demon Slayer with Season 2 this year and what we've had now, I think the both of them will definitely be neck and neck in terms of choreography. Although if I had to give the nod, I would give it to Chainsaw Man. I do think that they have the better overall fight choreography when it comes to hand-to-hand combat in that regard. I do think Demon Slayer is good when it comes to the sword play. I would give them the edge in the weapon choreography. But when it comes to the fisticuffs, when it comes to throwing the hands, when it comes to throwing the feet, I think they definitely hold it. The animation was still holding up. Definitely a lot more light in this episode than I was expecting. Personally, I think that the shading was a lot lighter in a lot of areas where I would have expected to be a bit more dark and a bit more girthy. But, you know, in the end of the day, I still think that the grit was still there enough to the point where it didn't really detract anything much, but that's just something I noticed. But again, what can I say? I'm not much of an animator, so I wouldn't know how to tell you good animation from bad animation. I mean, I know basic good from bad, but when you're trying to dissect it, that's not one of my strong suits. I can just say that the animation was definitely pleasing, definitely good. Episode 9, yet another banger in the books, and now we move on into episode 10. And as we go into episode 10, we are entering into the final stages of Season 1. Again, if you know, Season 1 is supposed to be around 12, 13 episodes, I believe. So we're going into episode 10. We're entering into the final 4, 5-ish episodes, if you will, and that'll wrap up Season 1. And with Studio Mappa, we don't know when we'll be getting Season 2. We might get it next winter, assuming that they do it at the soonest. But we might not see Chainsaw Man again until 2024 at the earliest. So, you know, that's just something to keep in mind. But still, all in all, definitely a good episode. Definitely one that I would recommend. And until next time, next week, same time as always, we'll be doing the Chainsaw Man review with episode 10. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. Signing off, and I'll see you next time.